Here I am with the Tarot Snapshot for Sunday, April 7th. It's the night before the eclipse. Whether you're in the path of totality or not, what an excellently cool event this is for everybody. I want to talk to you about a little bit of spirit wisdom. The Tarot Snapshot has to do with tarot, absolutely, but by trade and my main thing that I do is that I'm a medium. I will sit with people and channel their spirits, the spirits of their ancestors, their beloved dead, and even angelic energies. I've sat with thousands of people up at this point, and I am so blessed with the information and the wisdom that I've received. Across the board, our spirits want the best for us, but they also want us to live fully. They want us to live fully. Everything that I've ever experienced has shown me that there is no such place as hell. There's no lake of fire where we burn for all eternity. But I also don't want to sugarcoat it. There is suffering in the world of spirit. There is. Regret is hell. Getting through this one chance that we have to live this wonderful life, getting to the other side of spirit, getting to the other side of life and going, I could have done it different. I should have done it different. I can't believe I stayed with that person for so long. I can't believe I stayed in that job. I can't believe I hated myself for so long. A perspective that I'd like to offer you is this. Think about how pretty much everybody in this world, based on their exposure to capitalism and advertising, comes to hate their body. They really dislike their body, their face, their weight, what have you. And while we should absolutely try to be more beautiful, to make this world more beautiful, there's a difference between trying to be more beautiful and trying to be less ugly. A lot of us are pursuing fitness or, taking care of ourselves from a place of trying to be less ugly, when every single one of us would die and look back at the life that we had and look back at the holy vessel that was our body and go, I was beautiful. I was a miracle. That was the vessel that helped me birth my babies, that helped me dance and know love and pleasure, and helped me enjoy cheeseburgers and look at the mountains and swim in the ocean. I don't know why I have to pass this message along to you, but I want you to know that this life, while we most likely have multiple lives, you only have this life. And there are decisions that you can make in this life to change the amount of regret you feel when it's all over. I, myself, am going to do everything that I can to live fully, to love myself, to understand myself and the people around me, to be the miracles that we all are, to appreciate the beauty that we have access to while we're here, because as much as we live in a problematic world, this world is still such a gift. It is such a gift. Do you know who understands that? The people that no longer have it. So think about all the ways that you're living life in a way that you would never want somebody else that you love to live their life. And start there. Start with the changes that you'd want somebody that you love to make. If you're in a relationship that's unfulfilling and unsatisfying and unfair to you, think about what you would have somebody that you love do about it. If you're stuck in a job or stuck in a rut or looking at yourself through a lens of self-loathing, think about what you would have somebody else that you love do in that scenario. With that being said, let's get to the Tarot Snapshot. So I just wanted to add that information, and I'm not sure why I wanted to add that information, but I think it's useful information that everybody needs a reminder of on a pretty consistent basis. The Tarot Snapshot is 3 cards. First card represents us in the moment. Second card represents what vexes and perplexes. Third card represents what heals and reveals. So let's take a look at the card that represents who we are in this moment. The Juggler, the Two of Pentacles. And I think this is a pretty fair card that goes with that message that, no matter what life throws at us, we have to play through it all. We see this kind of dense cap. This person's juggling. Think about the court jester in medieval times. Life is always going to throw us for waves. You can see those waves here. Like those ships, we have to rise above it. But this is a card of balance. This lemniscate here, that's what this is called. There's a sense of wisdom that goes with this dance, and the way that life life is never going to be just easy. Good days, bad days, absolutely. But a message that I received last week during a reading, and it was so potent, came from this woman's father. And this woman's father said, listen, life is a ball. You must learn how to dance. And life is a ball. For some of us more than others. Some of us are handed some cards that are pretty awful. Some of us are handed cards that are okay. We should learn how to dance no matter what cards we're handed, because we only have this one life. So remember that balance. Remember that wisdom. Someday it's going to be bad. Someday it's going to be good. No matter what happens, we should do our damnedest to dance through it all. And this is just, remember, balance. Balance. Dance through it. The card that vexes and perplexes us this week is the Ten of Cups. This dovetails nicely with what I'm talking about here. We, at the age of 2 years old, start to be programmed by the things that we're exposed to. I am so frustrated watching people in this world totally bamboozled by some of the programs that they receive, some of the things that they've been taught, and they just don't question them. They absolutely go, okay, that's what it is. I believe it because somebody else told me it. We're constantly inundated with this idea of the happily ever after. Think of the fairy tales that we're exposed to as children. Think about any narrative structure that we watch, movies, shows, what have you. They're always going to show the person moving through the challenge, getting over it, around it, above it, and then finding their happily ever after, or the peace that comes after that challenge. Our happily ever after, that's up to us. We shouldn't let other people determine what our happily ever after is, no matter what. And this card illustrates that sometimes we can get taught what that happily ever after is. Think about the people who are terrified of burning in hell. Think of the people that are terrified of burning in hell who just, for whatever reason, couldn't dig into that story, couldn't research the history of where the idea of hell came from, couldn't think for a moment that the people who were telling them that story might have had an agenda. Our happily ever after is ours, not what other people determines it to be. Let's take a look at what heals and reveals, the card of wisdom and guidance for us this week. The Devil card. I love this. So the Devil card, it can talk about the darker natures of humanity, selfishness, greed, addiction, all of that. When the Devil card lands in a position of wisdom and guidance, it encourages us to remember that pleasure isn't all that bad. We are actually human beings that respond well to pleasure. Think about the evolutionary process that sex is. Whether we're procreating the species or not, there are some people who are asexual and have no interest in sex, but sex is a natural extension of who we are as animals, as creatures, as an extension of nature. Think about the visceral joy that you would get from eating some really good food, or dancing, or laughing. This card right here, in the way that it's our guidance and our wisdom, it says, hey, make sure that you understand that pleasure is something that you need in this world, and it is also part of this process that we're here. All of this really dovetails nicely with this idea of no regret. Think about, I can't believe I just brought up hell, and then here's the devil. Think about how many people neglect themselves and don't fully participate in the depth and the substance of life because of what somebody else told them. Because of what somebody else told them. To me, there's no hell, there's only regret. And I'm going to leave you with that this week, to do everything that you can to make sure that you're not living a life of regret. As well, I want you to consider checking in with the stories that people have told you and the stories that you have come to believe about your body, about yourself, about spirit, about the afterlife, about this world in and of itself, and peel it back, dig into them, find out where they came from, and the motivations and the agendas of the people that would be sharing them with you. That's our responsibility as humans that should be living a full life. So, happy Sunday, and enjoy the eclipse tomorrow.